Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming tonight. My name is Claire. I'm the event coordinator at Village Books. I just have a couple of quick announcements to make. Tomorrow evening, we have a very special event with Western Washington University Professor Gigi Berardi. She's also one of the most amazing food experts around. She's going to be talking about her great book, Food Wise, a whole system guide to sustainable, and I'm reading the mirror image of this, sustainable and delicious food choices. She's going to be in conversation with Chef Christy Fox of Evolve Chocolate and Plus Cafe, the cafe that is located on the mezzanine level at Village Books. So Chef Christy and Gigi are going to have a conversation about food, and knowing these two ladies, it's going to be very entertaining, but also extremely thought-provoking and informative. So that's at 7 o'clock on tomorrow evening, Thursday. So I encourage you to join us there. And then another, because we're talking anthologies this evening, here's one that we're very proud of that just came out today. We have our 2020 Writers Corner Anthology. And so this is going to be a group reading on Saturday at 4 o'clock. It's going to be hosted by David Beaumier. This is a collection of pieces, prose and poetry that are written by folks who are in the Village Books writing groups that are still meeting on Zoom quietly. Of course, we can't meet in the Writers Corner at the store, but people have still been meeting and writing. And so that's going to be on Saturday at 4 o'clock. And that's going to actually be on Zoom. So, and lastly, I want to point out that green button in the center of the screen, which says Purchase True Stories here. I want to let you know that that is a link directly to the Village Books website that has this event page, and all 3 volumes of the Narrative Project Anthology are there listed, volumes 1, 2, and the brand new 3. Which we're expecting any day at the bookstore. So if you order a copy, you're going to get it soon. So just click on that link and that takes you straight to the Village Books website where you can purchase your copies. And I think that is all that I need to say. So thank you all for being here tonight.
So Claire, thank you very much for all of that information. This is very important bunch of readings that we have coming up. I just ordered my Christmas dinner from Evolve, so I got that taken care of. You should do the same very quickly before they sell out. And also, what else got going on? Oh yeah, well, first of all, tomorrow, Gigi, who was going to talk with us too, but didn't want to have her do back-to-back days. So Gigi will come talk to Whatcom Writers later this year. And so we are very fortunate to have the speakers we have tonight. I will get to them in a moment. But first of all, since we have, this is Whatcom Writers and Publishers. This is our meeting for the month. And I am Sean Dwyer. I am the nominal head cat herder. Jennifer Mueller does most of the actual work. I am the figurehead. The reason I'm the figurehead is because she has better executive function in her brain than I do. So you do see the link to purchase the True Stories. The Narrative Project has anthologies from its graduates, and the work that they do, the writing that comes out in these anthologies is absolutely gorgeous, and you should have a look at that. First 2 are available already, and the third one's coming to Village Books. Okay, so if you had any messages about if you're new to Whatcom Writers and Publishers, if you have any updates on your publishing history, if you've gotten a new book or something, now is an opportunity to put that in the chat, and we will make sure we say something before we go away. Also, the reason I wanted Cami to come and talk about the Narrative Project is because the reason I have a book is because the Narrative Project was both supportive and a little bit of a push from behind to make it work for me. And we looked at a lot of strategies for somebody with brain damage to be able to write a book. And so that was pretty amazing that she is so resourceful. So pretty quickly here, I'm going to hand it over to her. I don't see any announcements that we have to put up here. So this is our December meeting. Look for us in January, and I'll be darned if I know who is talking in January. That information will be on our website pretty soon, and it'll also be on the Village Books events for Whatcom Writers and Publishers. So now I'm going to bring up the best writing coach I know, Cami Ostman.
Hi, Sean.
Hello.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And I'm going to, can everybody see Lisa
Great.
in the corner?
I'm going to bring us all up, and then I'll just get rid of me.
Wait, don't go yet.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So good. Thanks for bringing up Ani and Lisa. I want to introduce Ani and Lisa, and I just want you here as moral support for a minute, Sean.
Sure.
Thank you so much for inviting us. And hello, Whatcom Writers and Publishers. It's been a while since I've seen some of you, and I wish I could see your gorgeous mugs, but I trust you're all just as beautiful as you were when we used to be able to see people in person. So on the screen here with me, I have Lisa Daly. Lisa, give us a wave. Lisa Daly is the publisher at Sidekick Press. She's the publisher of the True Stories anthologies, and she is a former student of the Narrative Project. She went through the program, and her book is in the publication process right now, which is super exciting. Thank you, Lisa, for joining us. And then at least kitty corner from me, I don't know where people end up on your screen, is Ani Kamola. Ani, give a wave. So Ani Kamola is the best kept secret in Bellingham. I didn't know about her until I moved to Seattle. And now I speak with her 27 times a day. So Ani is also a student from the Narrative Project, and she is one of the editors of the most recent True Story. She does a lot of editing and proofreading for writers coaching. She's one of the coaches in the Narrative Project, and she's also my executive administrative assistant, awesome, keep me on track person, whom I can't live without, either personally or professionally. So, and then Sean, you all know Sean, and Sean is a graduate of the program and a cheerleader for the Narrative Project, and one of my nearest and dearest. And I like your haircut, Sean.
Thank you.
All right. So thank you for inviting us. We're going to talk a little bit about the Narrative Project. I'm going to give a little bit of background, and Ani and Lisa are going to hang out with me here, and then I'll ask them a couple of questions. But Ani and Lisa, feel free to wave your hand and jump in if you have something to add. So I wanted to just tell a little bit of the story about how the Narrative Project got started and what it is. So probably about 5 years ago, I was sitting on my sofa with another writer from Bellingham, Pam Hellberg, one of my dear, dear friends. And I was working as a therapist. And I was saying to Pam, I really, really wanted to start a coaching program. And she said, well, obviously you should start a coaching program for writers to help them get their books done. And I was like, ooh, that's, you know, I'm not sure if I could create a container for all for that journey. And she said, oh yeah, you absolutely could, because you're a marathon runner and you know exactly how to take yourself from being able to run 0 miles to being able to run 26.2 miles. So take everything you know in therapy as a marathon runner and in your work organizing the Red Wheelbarrow Writers and put it all together into a coaching program. So that night I couldn't sleep. And I continued to think all night long about what were the elements that writers needed in order to get their books done. And the program, by the morning, the program had come to me. Now we've added a few things to it over time, but basically what we do is that first thing we do is we take writers and we put in place the 4 things that they need. You all know this because you're working writers, but the 4 things that they need in order to be able to complete a book. And I call them the 4 pillars. I'm going to use my notes to cheat just so that I don't forget to say anything, because sometimes I'll babble it's a rough draft, when it comes out of your mouth. The 4 things that we need to put things in place, I call them the 4 pillars of successful completion. So when a writer comes to us, the first thing we do is we make sure that they take a stand for their story, because I think we all know how we wobble a little bit, when we have a story idea in mind, whether it's memoir or fiction. And we really want to support writers in taking a stand for the story that has come to them that they want to tell. A piece of taking a stand for the story is getting a roadmap for the storyline. And so we use the story spine and help writers create a narrative arc that they can work with throughout the course of their time writing with us. But we also work with the inner critic because, we got voices in our heads, and some of them are saying that what you're writing is awful or nobody's going to care about it. So we really work hard with writers to change their relationship with their inner critic. So taking a stand for your story is like the number 1 pillar. The number 2 pillar is that we help writers organize their life around their writing rather than their writing around their life. And it's a little disorienting because now I'm in a different place. So
sorry about that.
It's okay, Sean. That's good. So a lot of times, when we're working on a project, we hope that it fits into our lives, but all of who are working writers that you actually have to put your writing time on your calendar. And if you don't put it on your calendar, then it's likely not going to happen. But if you do, it becomes pretty sacred. So we help writers set up their writing spaces, figure out what their style is of working, and put it on their calendar, create a word count goal for every week. And then the third thing is that we want to help writers create a reliable feedback system. So writers need to get critique. They need to get feedback about what's working and not working. So I'm sure most of you are in critique groups or have beta readers. And a lot of the writers who come to us in the Narrative Project for our 9-month program, they don't have that in place yet. So we want to help them put that in place and teach them how to run those critique groups so that they can get reliable, so it doesn't just turn into a social club, even though social clubs are awesome and social distancing sucks. But we really, we really want to make sure that we're getting work done in those critique groups. And then finally, the 4th building block is a commitment to skills building or craft building. So in the Narrative Project, what we do when we enroll somebody in the 9-month program, and I would encourage everybody listening, if this is not a good fit for you because you already have these things in place, think about your writerly friends who have been struggling to write books for a long time. We have an author who is very, very close. How close is Laura to being done with her book, Ani, with her final draft?
I'd say within a few months.
Within a few months.
Yeah. We've been working together she and I have been working together one-on-one for a year and a half or so. And then she was through the program as well.
Yeah. So Laura Hine came to us and who knows, she might move on to Lisa for publication too. So Laura Hine is an author from Edmonds. She came to us with, I don't know, probably 20 or 30,000 words that she had written over and over and over again for about 30 years about a trip that she'd taken to the Galapagos Islands. So she went through our 9-month program and then through our 2nd tier, which we call the next chapter, and then moved on to working on final developmental edits with Ani. And so super fantastic opportunity to see somebody complete a dream that they've had in their hearts for a long time. So what we do with the Narrative Project is for 9 months, the first week of every month, we have a skills building class. So we talk about something like creating narrative voice or book structure, or how to write dialogue, or how to work with flashbacks, some kind of skills building class. And then in the second and third weeks of the month, we have critique groups. So we have a published author who curates the critique group. And inside of that, the four writers are working together to complete their book. And so that works as an accountability team. And literally, we just don't let people get away without turning their work in. And so everyone comes out of the program with their goal met, whether it's 50,000 or 70,000 words. And we're shooting for a rough draft here. So they're not working through their revisions yet. We're getting them to write through the entire draft of their story. And then in addition to that, we have one-on-one coaching. So every coach gives coaching sessions to the people inside of their group. And live retreats, or at least they used to be live. They're virtual now, which have worked just fine. But we'll go back to live as soon as we can because I love hugs. So those live retreats serve as an opportunity for the entire group to gel. But also we do a lot of work. We get out of the writerly brain and get into some body movement and some other ways of getting at the story. Some collage. Colleen Haggerty leads us in some collage. And typically Rebecca Mabanglo-Mayor will lead us in some story constellations, which you really need to be in the room to do. Yeah, super, super cool experience. And then publication at the end. So Sidekick Press is working with us to publish our anthologies. And the anthologies are awesome because a writer gives us about 3,000 words and we work to really craft that piece to get it to its best writing. And then the writers who have published in the anthology get to go through the whole publication and marketing and launching process. So we give a writer like the full scope of what it's like to write a book, revise a book, publish a book, and launch a book and create platform. So we've been doing that now. I was counting this up, you guys. We have put 50 people through the Get Your Book Done program, 20 people through the next chapter, and 8 people published or in publication right now in the last 4.5 years. Can you believe it? It's super awesome. So I just wanted, and so if you guys have questions, by the way, about any of this, pop it in the Ask a Question box because it'll be easier to keep track of there than it will be in the chat where we have to scroll back up to get the questions. So if you have any questions about the program, or let us know. But before I forget to say this and move on to questions, we're here tonight specifically because we have an upcoming free virtual conference that we want everybody to sign up for and bring your writerly friends. We have Lisa and I with the seriously the foundation of Ani's support. We have interviewed, we'll interview 10 people in the industry, publishers, agents, writing coaches, platform builders. Yes, we have the whole gamut, bloggers. So the way podcasters. The way to sign up for that is to go to writethatbook.already.thenarrativeproject.net. And I'll pop that in the chat. Lisa's on it. Lisa's all right. I hardly have to do anything anymore with Lisa and Ani around here. It's so amazing. She's like, that's not true. It's kind of true. So I just wanted for Lisa and Ani to jump in. And since both of you have been through the program, I'm really curious to know what changed for you as a result of going through the program. And I'll let you guys talk about that for a minute while I mute myself and go get my cord so that I don't lose power. So what changed for you as a result of going through the program?
Do you want me to go?
Sure, you can go.
All right. So what changed for me in the program? I have always wanted to be a writer probably for my entire life, as far back as I can possibly remember. And for the last 25 years, I've had the story in my head that I was going to write And then I had a whole lot of tragedy. And then I went on this fantastic trip and I got home and the book that wanted to come out was totally different than what I thought it was. And so I wrote the entire book. I'm probably a little bit different in terms of Cami's project in that respect, because I wrote the entire thing and then I read it back and I was like, oh my God, this is the most boring story in the whole world. And I talked to Cami and she's like, yeah, you've got some good bones. And I thought, that is not good. That is not good. And so she kind of set me on a great path. And then I wasn't quite ready to jump in the narrative project yet. But the next time around, I'm like, okay, I'm ready to do it. And I learned all of the pieces that I needed and that my story was missing. And I went through both the narrative project and then the second piece of that. And I feel like I have crafted a story that may not be perfect, but I feel like it's a good one. I feel like it's good, and I feel like I'm ready to put it into the world. And in fact, it's ready to be published and is coming out in March. So what changed for me? Everything changed for me. And now that story that was in my head that I had had rolling around for 25 years, I think I finally have the confidence to really sit down and do the work and take all those pieces that I learned in the narrative project. And I was writing memoir, but I think a lot of them also apply to fiction. And so I'm going to put all those in place in my fiction story. And who knows, I may go through again just for the accountability and the support and the sort of really the support that I get all the way through. It's amazing. Anyway, that's the change for me. Ani?
All right, this is fun. What changed for me the most, I think, is actually structure. I am an artist through and through, and I like just to go with the flow. My pre-writes are like big, giant collages on the wall that look like a murder mystery, like tracking with yarn and photos and everything. And Cami's seen like 16 iterations of it, and I can like go on and like dream and everything. And the narrative project gave me the structure to be like, okay, like what are your plot points? What happens? What actually happens in the book? What doesn't happen in this book? What's actually belonging to a different book? Okay, now when are you going to sit down and do that? And what are the submissions you're going to turn in? And helped me to just bring in like the sacred structure that I needed to hold the font of creativity so that it actually had a direction and some guidance.
Yeah, that's so true. It's so fun to see Ani's the way she does her arts, because they're usually very creative.
Yeah.
So another question can you guys hear me okay?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I know my video is probably a little choppy. So I would also love to hear, now both of you have been with the program for a long period of time, and I'm curious to know what you notice happening for other writers. And Ani, you're a coach, and Lisa, you're actually publishing the books of the people who are coming through the narrative project. So what are you noticing in terms of their growth, their change as a writer, through going through the program and then staying with the consistency all the way through to publication?
You want to go, Lisa, or should I?
I don't care. You go ahead if you have something.
Okay, I'll go. I'm ready. I really see changes happening both on an internal and an external way. So I've been through the program twice and the next chapter, and now I'm coaching, and I have things published in True Stories 1 and 2 and 3. And what I witness in myself, but also in everybody around me, is this growing in confidence and treating ourselves with more respect. Of yeah, we actually are writers. We're not like just pretending to be writers. And I think a lot of that has to do with the community of, having people there to laugh with and cry with and figure things out with. And then on the external so that's sort of the internal, and then the external, I I love hearing how people change talking about writing and about their own writing as they go through the process. So, we teach our peeps how to give feedback and how to receive it. And, at the beginning, it's like, oh yeah, I really liked this and right? And so with coaching, we work with them to articulate, well, why does that work for you? Why does that bump for you? And by the end, they are just talking like really sophisticated conversations about voice of wisdom and, well, what would happen if you change the dialogue here in this way? And they're really generative, like external working craftsmanship.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would add on to that and just say that, I think you've had a lot of the coaches in place since the very beginning, and the more you know, the more you know. So as you've gone through this process of learning and going through these groups and learning, writers learn from one another. I think the coaching has improved, I had a wonderful coach in Rebecca, and I learned so much. I think it's just gotten exponentially better. And I think that the writing itself has gotten better and better along the way too. I was amazed at the stories that came through in this volume 3. I mean, they brought me to tears and made me smile. I mean, and it wasn't just memoir anymore either. It was memoir and fiction and all these different genres combined. So I think that was really great.
Yeah, and I'm glad that you mentioned True Stories 3, because not only can everybody purchase it down below with the button down below, but also we have a book launch coming up, which is Saturday, January
23rd.
23rd. So I hope everybody noticed how I started the sentence and then I paused and let Ani finish the sentence. It has to do with a calendar. I just pause and I let her fill it in.
I'm going to double check. Yep, 23rd.
Good.
4 o'clock.
Good. So in January. So I hope people will join us for that. So I want to just brag on Sean for a second before we just turn our attention to the Write That Book Already virtual conference. Well, it's a little bit of a mouthful. We were using the term telesummit, and we decided we didn't like that term. We'd use virtual conference, but it doesn't roll off my tongue, so I'm working on it. Right. So just bragging on Sean for a minute. When Sean came into the narrative project, I think many of you who know Sean know that he'd sustained this head injury. And so we wanted to put him on a course to finish the book by the end of the 9 months, like everybody else was on the course. People calculate the number of words they need to that they need to produce in rough draft, or some people come in with a chunk of material, and so they're doing some revisions along the way. And when Sean came in, he was dubious as to whether or not he would be able to write, because he felt like his fiction chops were compromised by his brain injury, and we're finding out that isn't true. That it's coming back right now as he's writing his novel. But we worked really hard to find. He was mentioning at the beginning to find ways of making sure that he could get his material done. And I mean, we tried changing the color of his screen. We tried, bigger words. We tried a shorter number of words per writing session. We did all kinds of things to try and find a sweet spot for him. And then he came up with the idea of structuring his book in shorter chunks along the way. So the chapters are short and small, and he did that, he said, for 2 reasons. One was so that he could write it, and the other was because he believed that people with brain injuries would be able to apprehend it better. And so I just feel really proud of Sean and that book. I can't take credit for anything other than being a cheerleader and a collaborator in brainstorming with him, but I'm really, really proud that we supported that book, because I know it's helped a lot of people and it's sold a lot of volume now. So kudos to Sean. So I would just turn.
Can I say one more
Absolutely,
thing?
Ani.
Another thing I see change is that people get their books done.
Yes.
They go from nothing to everything, and that's pretty cool.
It is pretty cool. We just graduated a group of 11 writers, and it was one of the sweetest graduations that we've ever had. I think because of the pandemic, people felt like they really needed this community, and we held them tightly. And in fact, we actually added an element to the program this time through, which was that we had Ani and Lisa both hosting some write-ins. So they're sitting in the writer's corner, as it were, together and doing writing. And that really bonded the community. A lot of co-writing time. Yeah.
I have to say that actually that writing time for me that I host still weekly actually stemmed from the narrative project, because the first group that I went to, I really bonded with my critique partner, and she and I would meet every Tuesday morning for hours at Starbucks, and then she moved to Arizona. And so we decided to carry on. And then when COVID happened, we invited others. And so there's been a lot of people join us, and it's become a great group that really holds one another accountable. So
yeah, it's been really fun to see the things that have spun off from the connections inside of the community. So again, I want to invite people to ask questions if they have them in the ask a question box. So what has happened with the narrative project is that we have had most of our students come in from Bellingham, Seattle, Vancouver, and that's fantastic. We have this wonderful now spanning 2 countries, a lot of Canadian students and participants. But we began to expand through word of mouth to the East Coast and to the middle of the country. And Lisa and I have been collaborating on a couple of different projects over this last year, one of which was a trip to Chile that we didn't get to take. And we're still boo-hooing about that, but we will get to take it, and to take writers there. So just FYI, keep your ear open for a writerly trip to Chile.
I'm booking it. I'm booking it this month. I'm booking it for next December, first week.
So we're fingers crossed on the vaccine and on the pandemic getting under control, and we are going to be going to Chile. But as we were collaborating around that, the idea came up: how can we support Sidekick Press and Lisa's other business, which is Silent Sidekick? She builds websites for writers. How can we support her business in growing and expanding and reach other people with the message of the narrative project, which is that your story matters. Your story matters. Your voice deserves to be out in the world. We don't want the people with the biggest, loudest mouths who tweet more than everybody else tweets to be the voice of the narrative of our culture. So what we believe in is that when you have a story in your heart, you have a mandate to write that story. And how can we help other people around the country tap into what we are offering? And so Lisa and I decided that we would do a telesummit and reach out to other people in the industry who have larger mailing lists, and we would share mailing lists with each other and create a mutually supportive virtual workshop. And so what we've done is we've invited all of these people, as I said, the publishers and agents. And by the way, I have to just say this about the agents in our interviews, that all 3 of the agents said that when people have a book that they are ready to pitch and a book proposal that they're ready to put out there, that they are open to hearing from our people who are on this conference. So it'll be a place that you can reference if you're looking for an agent. You'll be able to say to this agent, we were on the Write That Book Already virtual workshop, and they will know where you came from. Not saying they'll take you on, because they all have their guidelines for what they're looking for, but they did say that they would welcome queries. So that's very exciting for us to be able to open that door for writers. So Lisa, I'm curious, you and I have done all of these interviews. I'm curious, what are you excited about for the virtual workshop, which is January 4 to 8, by the way, is when we're dropping those videos?
I have to say I was a little bit hesitant to really jump full-hearted into this, because it was really frightening for me, because a lot of these people that we interviewed are big names, and it's hard for me sometimes as this introverted writer to count myself among them. but it was so great to talk to all of our interviewees and to hear all the compassion that they have for writers out there. And I feel like we had amazing conversations with each and every one of those people that we talked to. And they all have offered up resources for writers that they are giving out as part of this conference. So I think it's going to be amazing. I'm so excited for it. And not only that, but then the Facebook page that we have set up as part of the conference, so many people have jumped on that, and just people started talking to one another about, oh, that's great, I'm writing a similar book. I mean, they've already been creating connections themselves. So it's been amazing. It's been a great journey.
Yeah, even so far, and we haven't even launched.
Yeah, I know. We're still a month out.
I know. I was actually going to ask Ani, because Ani is helping us staff the Facebook group, and I was going to ask you what you're noticing about the energy there in the Write That Book Already Facebook group.
Oh, people are so excited. And it seems like it's like a big open hearts and open like willingness to receive this information. And it feels really nice to sort of be, in pandemic, I live in this tiny apartment, and to have feel a part of this huge national ripple of writers and authors and people who think and do what I do. There's so much energy and so much fun. It just feels fun.
Yeah.
That's what I'm noticing.
I am feeling that too. They're just in there making comments on their books. And the thing that has struck me about doing the interviews is the level of collaboration. And, so we interviewed Brooke Warner from She Writes Press, and we interviewed Laura Mazer, who is an agent with the name of her.
Wendy Sherman.
Yeah, Wendy Sherman. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And see how I do that? If I pause and wait, somebody finishes my sentence. So I was really struck by both of them at how absolutely open-hearted they were. And Brooke Warner, who you could think of as being a competitor to Lisa's business, was just completely supportive and really thinking of us as niche mates to support writers in getting their story, living out their mandates and being able to see their books on the shelf one day and hold it in their hands and to get it into the readers that they know need those books, whether it's for entertainment or information or whatever, catharsis. So I've been just really thrilled to see both the back end and doing the interviews and the front end in the collaboration that's already happening in the Facebook group. Mm-hmm. Cool. So, so if there are any questions, pop them in the Ask a Question box. Anything else that you guys want to say about the program or the virtual conference? That it's free. Did we say that? That the virtual conference?
It is free. And I'll just reiterate that every single person that we interviewed has some kind of free giveaway as part of it as well. So that'll all come up when you sign up for it. And there's some amazing stuff out there. I mean, Brooke Warner has a whole series of whole 4 video series that she's offering up. And Alexa Bigwharf has a really nice product that she's offering up for free just to help support writers. So I think it's going to be really fun.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just been really fun to put it all together. It's been a lot of moving pieces. I'm just
a lot of moving pieces.
I'm a little bitter that we can't just all go out and have a long dinner when it's over and drink a bottle of wine, but we'll have to do it virtually. But it's been good. Cool.
I think, what was I going to say? Where did it go? What I like, so it's got to be around here somewhere. What I like about how the conference is structured is that it sort of breaks down every part of the writing process and does an in-depth interview with each part. So maybe as a writer, you are feeling really confident in the writing and the coaching part, but maybe not so much in the publishing part, or how do I go about finding an agent, or what even is a platform? And it's there's a specialist in each one of these places. And it's, I think, interesting just to sort of unpack the entire process as a whole.
Yeah. That's a great
Cami, I'm wondering if you want to talk about at all how about how it's delivered to people?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good idea. So when you sign up for the conference, what will happen is you'll get a kickback page that will alert you to the Facebook group, the private Facebook group that's just for people in the virtual conference. And you will also get a coupon code for a class that comes after that, after the conference is over, as well as an opportunity to set up a mastermind session with a coach in the Narrative Project. And then when January 4 arrives, you'll get an email to let you know that the videos have dropped. And so, in other words, they're up on the site and you can go and watch those videos, but also we'll be showing up on the Facebook group and playing them live at noon and 6 each day. So Lisa and I and Ani, and in some cases, the interviewees will be on that Facebook group. So while we're watching the video on the group, we'll be there chatting with people. So it's virtual, but it's also present. We'll be present for it's not just all delivered digitally. So that should be an exciting opportunity to interact with each other and with us and the presenters.
Yeah. Hey, Cami, I was wondering too if you could maybe tell everybody what masterminding your book means, because I don't know that everyone online might know what that means, but
yeah.
That's what I initially did with Cami to get into the program. And I actually just had the opportunity to do it again with my new book of fiction, which was amazing because I really sort of worked out these pieces where I was stuck. But maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a great question. So what we do in the Narrative Project is we mastermind every book. So somebody comes with an idea, or oftentimes people come, as I said, with a handful of chapters written, but they're rewriting them over and over again. And so what we do is we walk people through a question asking process by which we help people determine where does their main character begin the quest of the storyline, and what are the primary plot points along the way, and then where is the transformational moment for the main character, so that the climax of the story, where the tension has built to the climax. And then what we do is we ask authors to make a list then of the scenes that fit into the major plot points and the rising tension. And so it's not really a very complicated process. Some people take that who are really left-brained and create a spreadsheet out of it. Some people take it who are extremely right-brained and put sticky notes all over their walls and connect yarn to the sticky.
Are you talking about me and Ani?
I am.
Here, I'll show y'all. This is my process.
I'm the sticky note. I'm the spreadsheet girl.
So what's really great about that mastermind process is that when somebody has a new story, and we do this with but like Lisa said, she did it with her book that she's completed and that she's publishing. She's got the novel idea that's always been in the back of her mind that she wanted to do. So we go through the process again, sometimes a few times throughout the 9 months, so that, because, as you write, things change. I mean, you think you're driving down to San Diego and then you get waylaid and figure out that you really want to go to Santa Fe. That's totally fine. So we'll go back in and mastermind as many times as we need to throughout the 9 months as the process takes its course. So there's very much like structure, but also flexibility. And it's a wonderful, fun thing. I routinely have writers who call in for the on the phone masterminds burst into tears and say, "Oh my God, now I know what to write." So we really love this process. It's very heartfelt and wonderful.
I actually have that epiphany too. Like when we did my book of fiction, because I was really kind of stuck on a part, and then you said one thing, and I was like, "That's it. That's it. That's the direction."
Yeah.
No, it's totally fine. It's like a straightforward process, but there's always a moment of magic. Like there's always something that shifts. It's just so much fun. There's so much fun to offer and to receive.
Cool. Yeah. Thanks, team. Thanks for those additional nudges. I wonder if anybody has a question. You can jot it down. If not, we will invite Sean to come back if he's still there. He must be there because he's in the control room.
There he is.
Hey, Sean, did we miss anything?
No, I don't think so. Except, well, I would like to put a couple of cents in on this.
Please.
You really did work really hard to find a way for me to be able to write this book. When you were starting to do, look at that gorgeous book. Oh my goodness. Jess Stone is mostly responsible for that beautiful cover. You talked about doing the narrative project, and I thought that's exactly what I will need when it's okay, when I can write a book. But you encouraged me to come in that first year, and you went the extra mile in trying to find ways for me to be able to write, and we figured it out, you know. I know that when Kathy Tupper had 100,000 words, I had 10,000, and I wound up with the 80,000 I needed, and the book has been good. It's been good for me. It's been good for a lot of people in the brain injury community, and it would not have happened yet without the narrative project. But also, tools that I acquired when we were doing that book are helping me to this day, because I just now that school has ended, I have created a Story Spine Plus, I would call it, where I am figuring out where the gaps are in the story as I'm revising the novel, and I'm going to have it done in probably 10 days.
That's so great.
Because of that.
That's so great.
That's all from tools I acquired in my previous work. Plus, having done a course on this novel.
Yep.
Everybody helped get the book this close, and now it's time for me to finish it off.
Yeah.
So, but again, that's another thing that without all of the input from the narrative project, it wouldn't be happening.
Yeah, you can do it, Sean. You can sprint this last mile. You know, you're always tired at the end of a marathon, but
Right.
you just keep pushing. You can do
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for inviting us to come, and thank you to the Whatcom Writers and Publishers. I wish we could see your faces. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, frankly, I see this as, whether anybody realizes it or not, I see this as my Christmas gift to everybody here. I think there's probably 10 writers in the country who could not benefit from this program, and that they're not here. They're not here. You can think you're this and you can think you're all that, but there's always something new. And one thing I read a long time ago is that even when you know your stuff well, if you listen to people who talk about it, sometimes you glean something new. And yeah, I mean, we have people here like Janet who just can pound out a book, and a really compelling book all by her little self. Good for her. But I still need this stuff, and I don't know when I'll stop learning. Every time I go to Mastermind Your Book or one of the other things that you have, I just like, oh God, yeah. And the people you bring in to help out, to do the talks, and everybody there is just amazing, and it's all ultra high quality stuff, and I'm just always thrilled to be around you folks. I learned so much, and I gained so much from the whole thing. I do want to give a shout out to Becky too, because she let me be in Bellingham Alive in the summer. So
Awesome.
Thanks, Becky. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say.
Good. Well,
And,
thank you, Sean. Thank you so much. And
yeah, I guess you covered everything. I know you got 2 signups for sure because I signed up and Gigi signed up. So
Good.
yeah, I was going to, but this seemed like the perfect time to do it. So
Good.
have
Yeah,
you
you're gonna-
have you accomplished what you wanted to right now?
I think so. I think we got a chance to share with people what we're
Mhm.
doing, and even I think the writers in the Whatcom Writers and Publishers are working writers. I mean,
Yeah.
are writers who have published many times, many of you, and so. As I said, the kind of support that you need might be different than what the Narrative Project offers because you've already got your accountability in place. If that's true, though, I'm sure someone who isn't getting the support they need.
Mhm.
So you can send them our direction for the 9-month program, but everybody on this call can totally get some inspiration, some support, some ideas, some encouragement from the Write That Book Already virtual conference. So write that book already .thenarrativeproject.net. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
I posted it again. You want to copy and paste?
Great. Thanks,
Oh.
Sean.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, everybody. Send them your virtual applause through your brain to their brains. And I'm grateful that you all wanted to come and could come because this was the opportunity to get this information disseminated. And it's really important to me to have it happen. Okay. So I will. Okay, and now this the video will be available as a rerun on Village Books, so you can pull it down from there for your needs. Okay,
Cool.
so alrighty, thanks.
Thank you, Sean. Mwah.
My pleasure. Alrighty, so I'll go ahead and send you back here.
Thank you.
Yep. And if there's anything anybody else needs to mention, Janet mentioned that she has a new work out. It's a short story set in Norway in a Christmas setting. And it is available through Amazon. She put the link there. If you want to pop that in one more time, Janet, since it has scrolled way up, you could do that. While I was muted and stuff, I went and snagged that thing. So it's a whole book and it's free, and that's a beautiful thing. So you should go ahead and do that. And there's Janet's link. Grab it right now. It's a free read on Kindle. Hello, free. You heard me, free. And I have heard a chunk of this story, and it's gorgeous. It's really compelling, as always. So nobody else? That's it? Yeah, people from all over the Northern Hemisphere. That's very cool. So, alrighty. Well then, this was the meeting. And now I will let y'all go get on with your evening. And go look for the Northern Lights tonight if you're in Bellingham or environs. They may be visible up until or as low as far south as Oregon. So you ought to be able to catch them. All right. So yes, as Janet says, Merry Christmas to all of you and a Happy Hanukkah. And whatever you may celebrate during this time of year, even if it's only Festivus, if you want to ignore the rest of it, that's fine. Yeah, Lisa says, go look at midnight for your Northern Lights. Okay, and Lisa knows these things. She's the calendar girl. All right, it's been great, and really have wonderful holidays, and we'll see you in 2021, and let's hope we all see one another under better circumstances all the way around, okay? All right. Good night, everybody. Bye-bye.